The entrepreneur's journey often begins with a spark, a brilliant idea, a burning passion, a vision for a better world. Sarah had that spark. She poured her life into her artisanal bakery, the Golden Crumb. Early mornings, late nights, the smell of fresh bread and pastries her constant companion. Sales soared, customers lined up. She expanded, hired more staff, opened a second location. On the surface, it was a triumph. She'd hit her revenue goals, exceeded her wildest dreams. She felt that surge of pride, the sweet taste of victory. But beneath the surface, a silent rot began to spread. The bank account felt perpetually squeezed. Payroll was a weekly scramble. New equipment, supposedly funded by strong sales, felt like a constant drain. Profits on paper didn't translate to cash in hand. She'd look at her overflowing order books and wonder, where is it all going? Each day was a frantic sprint, a constant fight to stay afloat, despite the undeniable success everyone saw from the outside. She was trapped in a cycle of endless effort, mistaking revenue for riches, activity for actual progress. She was building a magnificent structure on quicksand, smiling through the fear, convinced more sales would eventually fix everything. But the quicksand only pulled harder with every expansion. Her false victory was the illusion of growth without understanding its true cost. A business thriving in public but gasping for air behind closed doors. She was reacting to symptoms, not understanding the disease. The real reason Sarah, and countless others like her, stumbled wasn't a lack of hustle or a poor product. It wasn't even a shortage of customers. The fundamental failure lay in a missing language. Business finance isn't just about math. It's the narrative of your enterprise, told through numbers. Most entrepreneurs treat it like a foreign language they hope to outsource or ignore. They look at financial statements as arcane documents, something for accountants, not for them. But these aren't just dry figures. They are the vital signs of your business, the story of its health, its struggles, its potential. The root cause of their financial confusion isn't a lack of intelligence, it's a lack of interpretation. They see individual trees, but miss the forest. They focus on sales, which is just one leaf on one tree. They don't understand how every decision, every transaction creates ripples across an interconnected ecosystem of value, debt, and cash. This isn't merely about balancing books. It's about understanding the internal logic of wealth creation and preservation. As Warren Buffett famously said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. And to truly understand value, you must speak the language of finance. Without it, you're flying blind, relying on gut instinct in a world that demands precision. The titans of industry didn't become titans by accident. They mastered this language. Peter Drucker, the father of modern management, stressed that the purpose of a business is to create and keep a customer. But he also knew that keeping that customer profitably required rigorous financial understanding. Warren Buffett, when asked about his investing success, often points to his ability to read and understand financial statements better than most. He's not just buying companies, he's buying a story told in numbers, a narrative of assets, liabilities, earnings, and cash flow. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, emphasizes the importance of understanding cause and effect in economic systems, a principle directly applicable to business finance. He teaches that by understanding how different elements interact, you can predict and influence outcomes. These leaders aren't just making money, they're understanding the mechanics of how money is made, how it flows, and how it accumulates. They recognize that financial statements aren't just compliance documents, they are strategic tools, maps that guide their decisions and reveal the true landscape of opportunity and risk. This isn't about becoming an accountant. It's about becoming a financially literate entrepreneur, armed with insight. So how do we begin to master this vital language? It starts with three fundamental pillars: the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. These aren't isolated documents. They are a tripartite symphony, each playing a critical role in describing your business's financial reality. First, let's demystify the income statement, often called the profit and loss, or P&L. Imagine it as a video recording of your business's performance over a specific period, a month, a quarter, a year. It tells you the story of your profitability. At the very top, you have your revenue, the total money your business earned from selling its goods or services. This is the obvious starting point, what Sarah focused on. But revenue isn't profit. From revenue, you subtract your cost of goods sold, or COGS. For Sarah's bakery, this would be the cost of flour, sugar, eggs, and all the direct ingredients that go into making her bread. What's left is your gross profit. This tells you how much money you're making just from your core product before any other expenses. If your gross profit is thin, you might have a pricing problem or an inefficiency in your production process. Next, you subtract your operating expenses. These are the costs of running the business that aren't directly tied to making each product. Rent, utilities, marketing, salaries for administrative staff, insurance. These are the fixed and semi-fixed costs that keep the lights on. Once you subtract these, you arrive at your operating income, which shows how profitable your core business operations are. Below this, you account for interest expenses if you have loans and taxes, finally arriving at your net income, the true bottom line profit your business generated for that period. The income statement answers a crucial question. Did I make money during this period, and how much? It's your report card for operational efficiency and pricing strategy. Second, we move to the balance sheet. If the income statement is a video, the balance sheet is a photograph, a snapshot of your business's financial health at a precise moment in time. It's structured by a fundamental equation. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. Assets are what your business owns, things that have future economic value. Think of current assets like cash in the bank, accounts receivable, money customers owe you, and inventory, Sarah's flour, sugar, unsold bread. Then there are non-current assets, like property, equipment, and machinery, Sarah's ovens, delivery vans, and storefront buildings. These are things you expect to use for more than a year. Liabilities are what your business owes to others. Current liabilities are obligations due within a year. Accounts payable, money you owe suppliers, short-term loans, taxes payable. Non-current liabilities are longer-term debts, mortgages on your buildings, long-term bank loans. Finally, owner's equity represents the owner's stake in the business, the value left over after liabilities are subtracted from assets. It's the original capital invested plus any accumulated profits that haven't been distributed. The balance sheet tells you, what does my business own, what does it owe, and what's my net worth in it at this exact moment. It speaks to your financial structure and stability. Third, and arguably the most misunderstood, is the cash flow statement. This is where Sarah's confusion truly began. Profit on paper doesn't always mean cash in the bank. The cash flow statement tracks every dollar that moves in and out of your business over a period, categorized into 3 activities. Operating activities show the cash generated or used from your normal business operations. This includes cash from sales, less cash paid to suppliers and employees. It's the true measure of your business's ability to generate cash from its core activities. Investing activities show cash used to buy or sell long-term assets, like Sarah purchasing new ovens or selling old equipment. It reflects how your business is investing in its future. Financing activities track cash related to debt and equity. This includes cash from taking out a loan, repaying debt, issuing new shares, or paying dividends to owners. It shows how your business is funded. The sum of these 3 activities reveals your net increase or decrease in cash for the period. This statement answers the critical question, where did my cash come from, and where did it go? It explains why a profitable business can still run out of cash, and why a business might have plenty of cash but not be truly profitable. It's the heartbeat of your enterprise, revealing its true liquidity. Now, simply having these statements isn't enough. The power lies in interpreting them, in understanding how they interact and what they reveal together. This is where financial ratios come in. Ratios are like diagnostic tools, helping you quickly assess specific aspects of your business health. For instance, profitability ratios, like the gross profit margin, gross profit revenue, or net profit margin, net income revenue, tell you how efficiently you're turning sales into profit. If Sarah's net profit margin was consistently low despite high revenue, it would signal a problem with her pricing, her cost of goods, or her operating expenses. Liquidity ratios, like the current ratio, current assets, current liabilities, tell you if you have enough short-term assets to cover your short-term debts. A ratio below 1.0 could mean trouble paying bills on time. Solvency ratios, like the debt-to-equity ratio, total debt, owner's equity, tell you how much of your business is financed by debt versus owner's funds. A high ratio indicates higher risk. These ratios aren't just numbers, they are indicators, whispers from your business guiding your decisions. They help you compare your performance over time, identify trends, and benchmark against competitors. This deep dive isn't about memorizing formulas, it's about developing the intuition to see the story the numbers are telling. It's about using them to make practical, unmistakably clear decisions every single day. When Sarah learned to speak this language, her world shifted. She saw her bakery not just as a place that sold bread, but as a dynamic financial entity. She understood that her high revenue wasn't translating to cash because her inventory turnover was slow, tying up cash in unsold goods. She realized her expansion was draining her through high operating expenses that her current gross profit couldn't sustain. She used her newfound understanding to make targeted changes. She optimized her ingredient purchasing based on cash flow projections, not just order volume. She reevaluated her pricing strategy using her actual cost of goods sold and desired profit margins. She secured a small line of credit, understanding its impact on her balance sheet and cash flow, rather than just reacting to an empty bank account. She learned to spot the early warning signs of financial strain on her P&L and address them before they became crises. The entrepreneur's journey is often painted as a lone quest, but it is ultimately a journey of transformation. Sarah, once caught in the quicksand of reactive management, emerged as a master of her financial destiny. She no longer chased false victories. Instead, she built a sustainable empire, guided by the clarity of her financial statements. Business finance isn't a barrier, it's a compass, pointing you towards true north. It's not just about managing money, it's about understanding the very pulse of your ambition, the true measure of your entrepreneurial power. It's the language of control, the foundation of lasting success, and the ultimate freedom to build the future you envision.